What if I told you your company could increase cash flow, improve employee health, and reduce staff burnout without changing insurance plan or spending more money? Most founders think financial resilience means cutting benefits or delaying decision until later. Today, I'm here with Faith Roth, a healthcare and benefits strategist and owner of Envision Success. She'll prove that belief is quite costing your talent, productivity, and momentum. If you're building a company and want to retain great people without breaking your budget, this is a conversation you'll want to stay for. Welcome to Provider's Edge, the podcast that helps healthcare entrepreneurs and innovators break down barriers and control their business, life, and future with valuable action steps. With me, your host, Sabrina Runbeck, a recovered clinician and a business deal catalyst. Let's rewrite the rules and create a positive social impact while increasing your profitability.
Health tech founder, if you're tirelessly scaling your innovative solutions, constantly pitching your vision, and still waiting for that breakthrough moment to truly be seen, this message is specifically for you. The prestigious Health Tech Impact Awards are now officially open for applications. And let's be clear, yes, this is a highly competitive program designed to identify the best and brightest. It's completely free to apply, removing any financial barrier to entry. However, please understand, this is an exclusive opportunity, and not everyone gets in. We're looking for true innovators. This is your unparalleled chance to earn significant national recognition, elevate your brand, and refine your crucial pitch with personalized expert coaching. Gain direct access to top investors, influential health system leaders, and key founders, the very people who can open doors that will fundamentally change everything for your company. You didn't build your company to play small, so stop hoping to be discovered. Apply to be undeniable. Make your mark on the future of healthcare. Applications close sharply on March 1st. Don't miss this critical deadline. Go now to healthtecimpactawards.com. That's healthtecimpactawards.com. It's your moment to shine. Make it matter. Apply today and transform your health tech vision into a national success story.
Rose has been joining us today, and she has been having more than 20 years experience of consulting people on those, all with zero new spending and no disruption to the existing insurance plan for these employees to receive additional benefits. And so we're so excited for us to have Faith here with us, because we all know as you're growing, you are all about how do you retain your employees. And even you don't have the traditional W-2 employees, how do you have the right talent that stay with you as a startup as you continue to expand, becoming that 10, 20, $100 million company. So hi, Faith. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, Sabrina. It's a privilege to be here. I'm very excited to talk with your audience.
Our audience are mostly already leaders and entrepreneurs. So they do care about tax breaks and payroll and all these allocation things. And some people are a lot more dive into it than others, right? The people who has that financial outline and side of things versus people probably don't even go by the balance sheet at all. So walk us through some of the typical misunderstandings or people don't even know they should be looking at, right, when it comes to some of these tax reduction and benefits?
Well, the tax reduction benefit that I specialize in is specifically the one that works with healthcare. And its whole purpose is to balance that structure, because now with rising healthcare costs going basically beyond what employers can really afford to sustain care for their employees, they're making tough decisions about pulling back on their budget or pulling back on their care. And that's really an impossible situation. And what Mission Aligned Benefits does, it actually rebalances that, because it works with an IRS compliant structure that allows them to reallocate a part of payroll taxes to cover expenses for expanded employee wellness care.
What do you see are some of the typical clients that you have worked with, what are the case studies that you've been hearing often, right? Or I'm always curious is like many people feel like they doing a lot of great things for the employees, right? Or, oh, my accountant took care of that, right? Like, oh, someone is going to help me with that, right?
Mhm.
So as we grow, hopefully we're putting the right people in each of those critical domains of business. But we also know all attorneys do not have the same expertise, right? You're going to have the AI safety policy attorneys. You have the IP attorneys, right? The business development attorney. People are different. Same thing with the tax side, right? You're going to have bookkeepers, you have the registered agents, and then you have accountings. And some people are just so good at knowing what tax break to have versus other people are more of a tracking the payroll. So what are some of the things that you feel like most people haven't been asking enough about these questions?
I think they probably have been asking for solutions, but the problem is they haven't found them. They're not exactly sure where to look. And because this particular program actually works at the intersection of finance and healthcare, that's one of the reasons, because you mentioned tax attorneys and you mentioned CPAs, but they work in different lanes. Whereas this program covers both those lanes in a very unique way that saves employers cash flow and gives the benefits to employee with zero net cost. It's unique in the marketplace.
What do you feel like so many people don't even heard about these things, right? There's a zero net cost, but people didn't even inquire about it, or you feel like it just is not something people commonly even discuss?
It's one of those rare things where actually the underlying structure has actually been around for several years. But in the beginning, there was like compliance adjustments that's really needed to be made so that it could be properly employed or properly implemented. And since that time, that's taken place. And now we have full proven compliance. And we've already implemented this into over 2,000 organizations. So it has a proven track record. And it's just like if employers think about it like 20 years ago, how popular was the knowledge around HSAs? It takes time for something to be implemented to become common knowledge. That's the stage that this particular program is in.
Do you feel like it's a misconception when people think about these employee benefits, they will only say, oh, once I get to the 100 people in my network, once I get to blah, blah, blah number, then I should inquire about these additional benefits? Or how small or how early should they already be thinking?
They should be thinking very early because this goes down to quite a low scale. We can work with very small type groups of employees, and we can also scale as far as completely statewide. I mean, it's a national program when I say statewide systems. So there's no real cap to how large you can get. But the amount of savings is based on a per employee participation. So the larger you are, the more you save. But it still applies that it's especially important for smaller companies that can qualify because they tend to have the tightest budget and to be able to offer attractive benefits to employees. And that affects your retention and your recruitment.
Also, some of those is budgeted out, right? Like end of the year, we're budgeting to say, what do we need it for next year? But sometimes if you have internal change, if vendor left, it wasn't the right people, you needed to start circling around and think about how to play catch up. Now, is this something that's related more for season of the year, or is any time that they heard about this message, they should just already exploring, not have to wait for the tax season?
Absolutely. This actually has nothing to do with tax season. It has to do with payroll. Whenever you decide that you want to implement it and qualify, we begin at the very next month with the very next payroll. So you can begin saving, begin adding to your cash flow almost immediately and offering that access to your employees. The only time we like to not do it actually is during open enrollment. Because you've already got enough on your plate. But any other time of the year is when we implement.
Yeah, open enrollment, people are still thinking about, do I keep the plan? Do I do the next thing, right? There's so many decisions up in the air helping people. So adding this on top of it can be a little chaotic. So after the new year and things get settled, really thinking about what those benefits are for them. What would you say, especially we have some startup founders listening to this, as well as organizational leaders. For the organizational leader, they may already have heard something like that and perhaps haven't implemented, or they will have to say, oh, let me go check on the financial people or the payroll people, right? How can they get better informed about these decisions, whether it's something that can read up on, something that you would want to share with them?
There are some materials that we could definitely share that can help them in their, in their research. And really the very best thing is to hop on a discovery call with one of our experts. There's several pieces that go towards implementation. We have experts in every area, and we can answer all those questions. So exploring it with whatever questions that you have is what's necessary, because you need to feel comfortable with the structure. And so it's just a matter of getting educated.
Exactly. So having that one-on-one call so they can have a more detailed conversation what that dynamic looks like, right? How big your team is, what maybe they have a family with kids, right? And then maybe they are really thinking about what that look like, not just them by themselves, right? Or the people who just get married, and all these things can have a play in what it looks like for both the employers and the employees to think about what is that career path going to help me. And then maybe these additional benefits are one of the major reasons people stay, right? Mm-hmm. And do you hear much objections when it comes to this? Or this is just such no-brainer that as long as the people hear about it, they're like, oh yeah, let's check it out.
The main objection actually is that old classic line, it sounds too good to be true, right? And it's true. It does, because there's nothing else like this in the marketplace. It's a very innovative concept, but that's why it's so important to understand the structure. Once you understand the underlying structure, all the pieces fall into place, and then the light bulb goes off. And most employers that get, introduced to it realize that this makes sense. And they may want to talk to CPAs and their brokers and things, because there's no insurance changes with this. This is a supplemental program that just complements whatever else you're doing and expands it. Okay. So when we are happy, we educate a lot of insurance brokers, a lot of CPAs, so that they all understand.
Right. So it seems, does that also mean that as the employees are getting a break, does the individual workers, the staff level, do they need to have extra things in play? Or usually is that once a company entity register and be able to take the tax benefit, there's a pool of money that they can use for other benefits for health and wellness. Is that correct? Do they need to do anything else before they can qualify for these additional benefits?
Well, the employees have to be educated on what they're getting, because they're getting a very comprehensive wellness platform. And of course, the whole purpose of the program is to help improve employee health. And the side effect, literally, is that it improves the financial health of the company. So as those tax dollars are reallocated, one of the things that we do is that we educate the employees on what they're getting and how to utilize it, because we get very high utilization in our program because of how thoroughly that we educate. And the beauty of it is that the tax savings covers the cost of the membership for the platform. So there's zero reduction in take-home pay for the employee, as well as no co-pays and no deductibles to utilize the program.
I think that's also the hook on the back end, because you guys are attached to a wellness platform. So people know that their employer has a solution for them, right? It's not just a tax deduction for the company itself. It's actually that is specifically funded to these benefits for your people, the people who are builders, who are leaders, who are problem solving the customers' complaints, who figure out why is something not working. And also, those are the people who we know if their family gets sick, if they themselves get sick, then they take the sick day and someone have to step in, right, to do double amount of work. So we wanted to really come from this more preventative care instead of the sick healthcare, right? It's really about driving what can we do to tap into the longevity side. Even you have one or two chronic diseases, how do you maintain, how do you control it so it's not getting worse, right? I work in cardiothoracic surgery for more than 10 years. You've seen there are people as young as late 30s to 40s getting coronary disease versus the people that come, majority, yes, are still your 60, 70, right? But how can we prevent this from happening? And we know there are genetic factors. We know there are a lot of time is habits, right? What we eat, what we do. So having these additional people to help them to redirect, it's a great benefit to reduce the employee absentees. Anything else you feel like is very critical for people to know, both from an individual employee to maximize their benefit versus the employers, how to integrate the solution?
Well, I think you've really hit it on the head, Sabrina, because what I discovered, and one of the reasons that drew me to this program, is that access to care is one thing, affordability is another. And if you have access without affordability, you don't have health care. And that's what this program eliminates. And the other thing that's important for employees that we train them on is that this doesn't apply just for them. It covers up to 5 family members. And when you can cover a person's family and cover themselves, and you can get intervention early so that you have true prevention, when you can begin to transfer those lifestyle diseases that can be intervened with and turned around, you get a happier employer, you get a better culture in your company, you have more productivity, and yes, you get more retention, and that reduces your recruitment costs. So there's 4 different profit zones in this program.
Yeah, it's definitely a multi-layer support. It's not just for employees to save some money and not just, oh, we have an extra program for you guys, go use it, right? It is, they are connected to additional family member. And I think that's why some larger organizations have a lot of employee benefits, whether it's from fitness, gym, a dietitian, right? All this jazz come together. We see a huge trend in oral health as a major thing that's coming up, and lifestyle medicine, as you mentioned, and food as medicine, right? All these things about how do we change our habit? How do we feed ourselves the right way to either reduce the disease or slow down or prevent is so important. And having these benefits just makes things a lot more easier. And it's also not something, it seems like, oh, it's out there, we're not going to use it. But your kids can use it, your family can use it, and it gives that holistic way of, it's not just the individual entity of that employee, it's their whole family.
But a huge reason for that lack of, like most of these kinds of prevention programs right now, they're not utilized very much because they still have copays and deductibles. And there was a recent poll that showed that almost 50% of Americans have either skipped an appointment with their doctor or skipped a prescription because of cost. And that's why I keep coming back to this cost barrier, because it's so important that gets eliminated. And when you can eliminate that cost barrier and help the employer with greater financial stability, so they're not tightening their budget to try to give better care to employees that they can't afford to utilize, that is a win-win. And that's what I think is so wonderful about mission alignment.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. We definitely see that a lot, right? The patients that won't take certain medicine because it's too expensive, even because their plan doesn't cover that, or it's not the subsector. And then they're trying to get Walmart's $4 list or some other thing, right? So drug pharmacy is definitely a big topic. But if we don't have to get to the point that you have to use drug to control, let's capture much earlier. That's what we're hoping the shift in society of how we take care our body, how the medicine are being practiced, going to that holistic way.
I agree with that totally, Sabrina. And there is over 1,000 prescriptions in this program that have no copay at all. So you can imagine being able to access that to help your care. And what's really important about that is that these kinds of things are necessary to make the lifestyle changes that are needed. You know, they're a pathway there. And coaching and counseling is so critical because you don't make one appointment with your doctor and change your lifestyle. You have to have ongoing support. And that's another thing that's provided in this platform is you have access to individual, group, family coaching and mentoring and a whole series of educational webinars, live and on demand. It's a huge body of prevention and wellness care.
Yes. Going back to the traditional family medicine model, except telehealth, that your doctor knows everything about you. They do talk about how your kids doing, how their grades, how do you feel, what do you eat, right? Like it's really all encompassing. So how can people book a call with you guys to have more deeper conversation?
They're welcome to contact me. The easiest way really is to get check my profile on LinkedIn. That would be just Faith Rose, and the company is Envision Success, and that's Envision with an E.
Perfect. We know LinkedIn is such an amazing place for people to connect. So LinkedIn is sometimes can be also another social place, but it's also social with intention. So reach out, have a conversation with Faith, be educated. Well, all of us are the ones who post content for the education purpose. And we wanted to support the healthcare innovation companies and the clinicians, as well as the operators and administrators, to work out together really well to make sure we're providing amazing care for our patients, amazing care to retain all the staff, all the team members that we have, so that everybody can grow much faster together. So we so appreciate everyone for joining us today. Until next time.
Thank you very much, Sabrina.
Thank you for tuning in to Provider's Edge podcast. We hope you enjoy our latest episode and found the insights and tips helpful. We'd love to hear your feedback on the show and learn what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. So please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and let us know what you think. Your feedback is essential to help us improve the show and provide you with the content you need to take your healthcare business to the next level. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.